My question is for Mr. Fraser. I think we heard this morning from the Deputy Prime Minister that the policies you guys have suggested, as the Deputy Prime Minister said, will create hundreds of thousands of new houses. You announced about, I think, 1,600, you said, co-op housing. But I think the anxiety you're talking about stems from the CMHC saying that we need 3.5 additional in terms of millions of housing units by 2030 just to make things affordable. So as reassuring, I think, as some of those numbers may be, that there's hundreds of thousands of houses, it's still well short of what the CMHC is projecting. So how does your plan intend to meet that? That's just to make things affordable by 2030.
Sure, and look, I understand the point that you're making. There's one point of disagreement I have with the pretense. The anxiety that I sense in communities is not driven by the CMHC supply gap report. It's driven by people's personal experience. They're obviously tied to one another, but my sense is people were feeling the challenge before the most recent CMHC supply gap report came out. When people are struggling to figure out whether they can pay for their tuition and their rent, whether they can deal with the rising cost of groceries and make rent, whether they can actually save up enough for that down payment, it's a source of anxiety that's impacting people's day-to-day lives. The CMHC supply gap report indicates what it would take to get back to a level of affordability around the turn of the millennium by 2030. Every unit we get closer to balancing supply and demand, we're going to have an impact on affordability, whether we restore the exact same level that existed 20 plus years ago or not. The sum total of the measures that we're dealing with is growing very quickly. Keep in mind that the measures that we're talking about represent the policies that have been rolled out over a time period that's measured in weeks. Really, since mid-September, we're dealing with the GST, which is between 200,000 and 300,000. The changes to the Canada Mortgage Bond Program over a 10-year period would amount to about 300,000. The Housing Accelerator Fund, although it represents about 100,000 over the first 3 years of its rollout, the deals that we have booked to date, about 11 deals plus Quebec, over the next decade are now estimated to produce more than 250,000 just through that policy. When we continue to add these figures up, you see the number is growing and growing and growing. And I haven't covered all of the programs, including the recapitalization of the $15 billion through the Apartment Construction Loan Program, or the additional $1 billion towards affordable home construction that was included in the fall economic statement. So with every one of these policies that we've been rolling out since September, we are getting closer to restoring that level of affordability that existed a couple decades ago. But you have to keep in mind that even until we hit that number, the closer we get to it, the better impact it's going to have. I have a lot of hope as well, particularly with the Housing Accelerator Fund, because as new communities, because housing markets are local in nature, not national, as new communities have an opportunity to remove the barriers to get enough homes built, we can mirror the experience that we've seen in places like Minneapolis and Sweden and Finland, where we actually saw rapid change as a result of barriers being removed that led to more home construction that caused rents to more or less flatline in some cases. If we can actually achieve that level of circumstances where we achieve a balance in supply and demand by building out rental supply, more people are going to be able to save up for that down payment. Fewer people are going to be competing in the market if they can find an affordable place to rent. And you have this cascade effect that will be very positive. So are we where we need to be? Not yet. But are we on the right track? Increasingly so, and with a very rapid pace as a result of the policies that we've been rolling out this fall to respond to a shifting landscape where the focus is not just on affordable housing for low-income families, but also dramatically expanding supply to achieve affordability for middle-class families as well.
And I just want to add one sentence building on what Sean said. Sean talked about hope. And I think there's really a choice right now. Do you want to lean into the anxiety, or do you want to do the hard work so people can have hope? And we really believe in doing the hard work so people can have hope. Sean has spoken eloquently about what we're doing. And our announcement today of 300,000 Canadians already having opened a first home savings account, that is people voting with their money. That's 300,000 Canadians who, by definition, don't have a home now, who believe in buying their first home. They're using this savings account, which is the best way to save up your money for that home. And we are totally committed to, taking the housing challenge by the scruff of its neck, shaking it, and being sure, that we have the affordable rental homes for people, and that we have supply, so that those 300,000 Canadians and counting can afford their first home in the communities they want to live in. And they believe it because they're putting their money there.
Quick follow-up. So can you commit to building the 3.5 million additional homes the CMHC says is needed to make housing affordable?
We can make enormous progress. Before I can say with confidence there will be a specific number, we need to overcome the challenge around the productive capacity of the Canadian workforce. Right now, we're putting in place the policy framework and the investments that I have confidence will get us close to where we need to be to have a major impact on affordability. At a certain point in time, we're going to run into a new bottleneck, which is the ability to actually get the homes built with the workers that we have access to. We need to bring a sharpened focus, and we are working on this, by the way, with some of my counterparts who are not at the table today, to bring a renewed focus to training in the skilled trades for the purpose of generating a workforce to build more homes in Canada. We're working with Minister Miller to examine immigration opportunities to attract the skilled workers that we can't find in Canada in the short term, and including a reference in the fall economic statement to a program that provides permanent residency opportunities for people who have the skills to build homes. But what's really exciting for me is the opportunity in innovation. And it sounds like a political buzzword, finding a new way to solve old problems. We can build more homes and factories. We can make the investments through regional development agencies, which is actually happening today, to scale up home building factories. We can adopt policies that are going to make it easier to communicate to the sector that there is demand to justify that investment in the first place. If we can actually unlock the potential of the productive capacity of the Canadian economy to produce more homes, I believe that the CMHC supply gap number is ambitious, but not impossible. And I think we have some work to do to grow the productive capacity of the workforce, but we need to get the policy framework and the financial tools right in order to make it possible for the workforce to generate that homes when we grow the capacity.